Yeah. Would you do chess boxing ever?
How does that work exactly?
You play, I think it's a 10-minute game of chess, but somehow you're boxing like in between. And if you knock them out while you're boxing, the chess game ends and you win. But if you checkmate them, then the boxing ends.
Okay. I think I saw Andrea do that.
Yeah.
Right? Looks kind of fun. I mean, I would probably do that. Yeah.
$1 million versus Justin Bonomo in chess boxing. You would do that?
No, because the guy's much bigger than me. He's just taller and younger. Like, that's not a fair fight.
Yeah.
Even if he's completely uncoordinated and a terrible boxer. Like, I mean, I'm not like some freaking Mike Tyson over here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let me have somebody my own size.
Have you made amends with him, or is there still some?
I ignore his existence.
Whoa, it's that bad?
I've always done that. Like, I find him to be loathsome in some of the things that he said and the positions that he's taken.
Wow.
So I don't have, like, whenever, you know, he's at my table or whatever, I don't engage with him. He tries to engage with me occasionally. On Twitter, I don't block him. I let him put his propaganda on my feed. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all for free speech, clearly, right? But I don't engage with him directly because I'm not interested.
Got it.
You know, it's just like beating your head against the wall. But like, there was one moment, one thing that he did that I found so vile. There was that soldier, I can't remember his name, that like burned himself alive.
Oh, I saw
just
that.
poured gasoline over himself. And just clear. Nobody's saying does this. Okay, this isn't about, you know, moral conviction. This is just you've been, you know, indoctrinated. You've like lost your mind, right? Nobody does this. So he burned himself alive, you know, on video. It's crazy that you can watch this stuff today. And he talked about how brave it was. How I couldn't be that brave, you know, but that was such a brave act. What you're doing is you're glorifying.
Yeah.
You know, to a wide audience. And like, people see that. What if it sparked somebody to say, you know what? I want to be brave. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to needlessly kill myself.
Right.
Aaron Bushnell or something, what was his name? Like, what did that do? Like, what did he help with? It didn't make a difference over there. It's just a needless, you know, and to glorify that, I found that repulsive.
Right. That is a wild take. I didn't see that.
Brave. To call that act brave?
Yeah.
That, you know, you don't glorify stuff like that, because there are plenty of people who deal with all sorts of different mental illness, right? Who you don't know what small trigger will trigger them to do something crazy. You really don't. We can't know. So you somewhat want to be mindful of that. And when you do that, especially if you have a platform and you sort of throw that out there, that, wow, this guy is now being glorified, and people look at him like he's heroic. What if, you know, you want to experience that or feel that, and you don't put two and two together that, well, you're going to end up dead, so you're not actually going to get to experience it. You know what? I just found that to be,
that's crazy.
There's other things too, but that was for me like the, whoa, you've gone so deep that there's no redeeming qualities left. Like you can't come back from that.
Yeah.
You know, I find it interesting that the further left to the further right you go, right? You go to either extreme, the horseshoe theory, you end up agreeing on the same group of people are to blame for everything. Like either both ways, you know, like if you go in either extreme, and you see that playing out when you see like Dan Bilzerian and Justin Bonomo agreeing on one specific thing, that the Jews are to blame for literally everything.
Oh yeah, Dan's been going hard on that.
They both do though, right? And
I didn't see Justin.
Well, they're both like literally at the other end of the spectrum. Like Dan Bilzerian's massive Trumper, you know, Bonomo's like Jill Stein, you know, like left of left, right?
Yeah.
But they agree on this. He's talking about how, oh, Dan's spitting fire right now, right?
Wow.
It's the one thing that they can come to agree on, is that all the problems that exist in the entire world and that have ever existed are all because of Jewish people.
Man, they're getting attacked right now. I've never seen.
Well, they are, because they're real. Well, especially with Dan, like he was asked in the podcast that he did, you know, like, is this something that you've always looked at? He's like, no, it's recent. I'm like, yeah, no, it's recent, because you literally read a meme of like a Talmud, and you're like, you took it at face value as being like accurate without doing any deep research.
Right.
It's a very complex situation over there. Obviously, I looked into this 5 years ago in depth. I spent hundreds of hours researching both sides of the conflict and what the needs are on both sides to make my conclusion.
Wow.
So October 7th was, by that point, I already had a deep understanding of the conflict and what's going on over there. And then to see on October 7th, you know, a bunch of innocent people being killed at a concert, and then, you know, old people in a little village being murdered and slaughtered. Like on October 8th, before any bombs were dropped, you already had people in the streets marching, not marching saying, we pray for your dead. Instead, they were, you know, they're like the Free Palestine protesters the day after.
Right.
No bomb had even been dropped then. And that tells you it's more than just about, you know, what people want to say that it is.
Yeah. So did you publicly like pick a side, or you
kind of? Oh, I have many. I mean, like I said, when I was doing my research years ago, I was empathetic to both sides and I understood both sides. Ultimately, I landed on the side of the one free democracy in the region. The one place where if you are LGBTQ plus 1A, LS2, CES, what, then you can go in Israel and you can be in a pride parade. You can't do that in Gaza, right? Justin Bonomo, if he went to Gaza with his boyfriend and his girlfriend and was walking down the street, right? What happens next, generally speaking, or often, is he gets tied to a bike, is dragged through the streets and paraded through the streets right before he's up on the roof. And when he's up on the roof, maybe in that moment he would start to feel like, oops, maybe I'm, and then, you're thrown off the roof after that.
Wow.
So, I mean, I don't make that up.
That's crazy.
Like that's a thing, right? So when you think about democracy and you think about, frankly, a lot of the values that supposedly like the progressive left stand for, women's rights, gay rights, all these types of things, like that's Israel. Like they're an open democracy there, right? That's not the case, in Gaza. They don't have that sort of freedom under Hamas.
Right. But you and Justin have had beef for a long time, right? That just sparked it or ended it, I guess.
Well, I've never, it's been many years since I've ever, wanted to engage with him directly because I found it started with like his obsession with microaggressions, like, saying to a woman that you like your hair, and that being sexist and misogynist and all this kind of stuff. It was like, bro, you need to chill. So it started with that small thing and ended up to like full jihad, It's like, it was quite a stretch from there. But yeah, no, he sort of went down the quote unquote, and I'll use the quotes because this word sort of has evolved in its meaning. Like he went like super woke, right? He went down that path hardcore. And I said this in a tweet the other day, but I'm a believer that if you are 100% in agreement with any platform, right? Then you're doing no critical thinking of your own. It's near impossible for you to say, I agree 100% with what this party says or this party. If you do, what are the odds that you're actually thinking for yourself versus just taking in what you're being told to think?
Right. Yeah, it's almost impossible to agree with. There's so many policies. I mean,
and there's like literally not one I've ever seen in the last whatever where he doesn't fully side with the most extreme view that you can possibly have.
Of Democrat?
Even, but he doesn't consider himself one. He's like, no, left of that. Like
left of that?
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a left of that.
Oh, yeah. Jill Stein.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. So you don't think there's any middle ground with you and him?
No, I don't. Like I said, it's not worth, I've talked about it more with you just now than I have in a decade.
Wow.
Right? I just don't acknowledge it. Like he's like a lost cause to me. Some people are too far gone.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any point. Like I think one of the worst ways we can spend our time is to have back and forth on Twitter with people who are not actually trying to have their mind changed. Nobody is, right? They're just trying to make you change yours.
Right.
Never works. So it ends up with this endless stream of, I'm going to send you this article, read this, I'm going to send you this, I'm going to send you this, I'm going to send you, and then it's this page, and then you realize you just spent 13 hours wasting your time like banging your head against the wall.
Yeah.
Pointless. Now, some may argue, and there's truth to it, that like, well, there's other people that read that, and so you can influence them to some degree or whatever, but I just don't think it's the right forum.
Yeah.
Even though we can make longer posts now on Twitter, it's still not the appropriate forum. I think this kind of situation, right? You talk to someone in person, notice how different the interactions are versus online.
100%.
People are so much more brave online. I can't tell you how many people I read them talk so much mad about me on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
They're talking mad. Then they sit at the poker table and you're like, hey, how's it going? Like, bro, I saw what you said last week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you want to be my buddy? What the hell? What kind of is this for real?
People try to look tough on the internet.
Oh, exactly. And again, there's also a characterization of people. It's easier to demonize people when you just read their words versus like actually have the conversation.
Right.
Like you take two people, you could take a Trump supporter, Kamala supporter. You put them here, right, at a table, let them talk. You'd notice that the conversation is going to be a lot more civil and respectful than it would be behind a keyboard.
Absolutely. I've never engaged with a hater online.
That's smart.
I get a ton of hate. I would do it in person if they want to come on the podcast, but online, there's no point.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. In some ways, it's a lose-lose. I always tell people this because I have a lot of experience in this arena. When someone's lying about you, right? They're literally just flat out lying about some things you did or said or whatever, right? You have two choices. One, defend yourself, right? And get into the cesspool back and forth. Or B, I said one or B. or B, just let it go. The problem with both is this. Number one, you start going back and forth. People say, well, why are you defending yourself if you know it's not true or whatever like that, right? And then you're in the cesspool and you're in the back and forth and it's just a negative energy situation. The opposite option is don't say anything, but then it becomes fact to people. They just assume that this is true about you, right? So it's a lose-lose either way you go.
100%.
Right? Yeah.
And those types of videos get a ton of views.
Yeah, exactly.
when they're hating on you.
So they can characterize you and they can start labeling you. I saw this teacher recently. He did this whole, he got fired as a teacher. He was on X and he did this thing about J.K. Rowling or something.
Yeah.
And he had a student in there and he was teaching the kid critical thinking. And the kid was saying things that like, well, she's transphobic. She's this, and he's like, well, what makes you say that? Like, give me an example. But so often, once somebody's labeled something, and this is what they do, you know, if you have a thought that, well, maybe came from a lab, I don't know, you're a far right-wing fascist. I'm like, whoa, what am I? You know, like on Twitter now, and I'm kind of proud of this, I still get called like a libtard, and I also get called like a right-wing fascist. And like, oh, baby, I like when both of you hate me. Then I know I'm in the right place.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode.